Hey yo, fellow trans fans, Autobots, Decepticons, Legonians, and Brick fans. This is Dave Frost reporting once again with another Transformers action figure review. This time it is of the Transformers Combiner Wars action figure Decepticon Onslaught, the leader of the Combaticons. And he is a Voyager class figure. So you see the front of the box here before you. Then there is the top, which still has the same Autobot insignia coming towards Earth. Then there is the right side of the box, where you actually see an image of Bruticus, which Onslaught is the torso of. So this part right here is Onslaught, the torso and the head, and then the Combaticons, the other four Combaticons form the arms and legs. Then there's the left side, which is the same Autobot insignia coming towards Earth, as was the top of the box. Then on the bottom, a bunch of useless information. Then on the back, we have the robot mode and the vehicle mode, which can be changed from robot to vehicle and back to robot in 13 steps. Then we also have the bio description, which says, Onslaught has made the Combaticons into a nearly unstoppable strike force. He commands his team with the precision of a general and expects them to carry out his brilliant plans to perfection. And then there's the Bruticus appearance, where again we see Onslaught as the torso, as he is the only thing that is highlighted to initiate that he is the torso of Bruticus. And that the other Combaticons, who are Blastoff, Vortex, Swindle, and Brawl, that form the arms and the legs. But there is a sixth, not really Combaticon, more just of a Decepticon, rather, that is a part of this wave of Combiner Wars action figures, Shockwave, who I will bring out in a little bit. So, we're done with the box. Then there is the bio card. So let's open it up and see it in further detail. So there is Onslaught in the same artwork that was on front of the box, as he is giving out commands to his fellow Decepticons that are behind him. I'm not really sure. I think that might be Brawl right there, but then I also don't know who that is back there. Maybe Blastoff, perhaps? I'm not really sure. But then, on the back of all Combiner Wars figures were the Transformers Generations branding. You know, we didn't really get tech specs until the Titans Return figures came out. Next, we move on to the instruction manual, which is quite long, and takes 13 steps here to transform him from robot mode to vehicle mode, and then the same 13 steps in reverse this time to transform him from vehicle mode back to robot mode. Then on the opposite side of the instructions, you get the combination form of Bruticus, where we show the initiation of where Onslaught goes, and then there next to that are the instructions showing how to transform Onslaught from robot mode to combination mode. Well, combination mode as in, as I've said so many times before, the torso mode for Bruticus, which we will get to here in a little bit. So here we have Onslaught, and he is in his G1 accurate representation color form. The vehicle mode is just a little bit different from what it was in Generation 1. But he is really awesome with the teal, blue, whatever this color, this shade of blue is, and then this type of green and that type of purple, whatever those are. And he's a really neat figure, including his G1 accurate chest piece. Come around to the back, he has quite the backpack, which are just parts of what he uses to become the torso for Bruticus, plus his guns, which are removable, as you see here, and you take them and put them into his hands, and he uses them as actual weapons. You know, I'm just trying to make it work where he's coming at you guys. But anyhow, let's put the blaster back, or his gun, back into place and do a size comparison. So, I have here with me the earlier version of Onslaught, who is Hotspot. Yes, Hotspot is the original skeleton form for the vehicle and robot mode. And then Onslaught is a bit of a remold, more to the point, a repaint of Hotspot. Obviously, he has a different head, a few new pieces, but other than that, he is the exact same figure. Not even the weapons are any different, just in color, not in remolding. So they stand at the exact same height because they're both Voyager's size. Then we bring in Blades, who, spoiler alert, becomes Vortex. And once again, there's not much difference. Just a remolding of the head, and then a bunch of recoloring. And you would have Vortex. Of course, in this Transformers Combiner Wars toy line, the original would be Alpha Bravo, who came out in the first wave with the aerial bots. Then, I must point out that Blades and Vortex are of the deluxe scale of figures. And then we have Lil Shockwave. He obviously is not accurate in size, but he's of the Legend Legion class of figures, just so he can transform into a weapon that Bruticus can be able to hold, as he did in the Generation 1 cartoon. As he did in the Generation 1 cartoon, where Bruticus is firing Shockwave out of his backpack cannons after shooting a bunch of Decepticon drones on Cybertron by using Shockwave to fire at them. Alright. Now let's move on to vehicle mode. So, we're going to transform Onslaught. Just bear with me for a moment, and here we go. So what you want to do is open the chest and fold in the head. Fold out the side flaps and fold up the arms. And you would want to make sure that this tab right at the tip of my thumb I'm not exactly sure if you can see it all that well, but it's there. It's right here at the tip of my thumb, and that pegs in to a hole right at the tip of my finger. And that's how they connect, and then this shoulder flap goes right on top of that. And we do the same for the other side. Then you fold or twist back or rotate back the shoulders and arms, where the tires would be that are in the back would be facing downward. And then you bring those two together. So, there's a tab right here at the tip of my thumb, and that pegs into that hole right there. Then you bring up then you come to the legs, and he has heel spurs that fold up into the back section of the vehicle. So you rotate and turn around the legs so that the wheels are facing outward. Fold. So now we turn the leg, bring the leg out so we can fold the lower leg over the upper leg. And there would be enough space to do that, where the backpack is not in the way. And then bring the legs together, which tab in where there is this tab right there that goes into that hole. So they connect there, and there are these flaps here that connect by this tab going into that hole, and those two tabs going into these two holes around that tab. So bring those together, and then bring those flaps, which are the feet, and fold those in onto the top of the vehicle. And there you go. Now you have Onslaught in vehicle mode. So before we get into comparing stuff, there's one last thing, is that we take these side wing flaps and fold them down, but they don't really tab anywhere, but there's enough friction that they do stay in place. So put Onslaught there, and then we have Hotspot again. So Hotspot is obviously longer, but then you also notice another detail about the two. Because not only is Onslaught a remold and repaint of Hotspot, but he's also the same. Sure, he's the same vehicle, but he's reversed. Because you see, the hands are in the front, and there's this grill thing on the front of the vehicle for Onslaught. Well, turn Hotspot around, and it's the same thing, but on the back. Because if you also noticed in robot mode that the arms are the same piece, that are the same pieces on both of the figures. And then you got these door panels that have little compartments inside, and then these piping stuff here, and siren lights. They're all the same here on, and even the door and this part here and the wheels, they're all the same on Onslaught. But again, this is the front and this is the back. This is the front of Hotspot, this is the back of Onslaught. You also notice that there's this little tab on both of the figures. Only the tabs on Hotspot actually serve a purpose, so that his feet, which are the windshield and side windows for his vehicle mode, the tabs are used for the hooks of the windshield and windows, so that they stay in place. But the tabs on Onslaught do not serve much of a purpose at all. So that's the Voyager size comparison. So now we have the Deluxe class comparison, which obviously is going to be a bit smaller. And we also have the Legion Legend class comparison, which is obviously a lot smaller than the Deluxe. So that's about it for the size comparisons of vehicle mode. And so now we move on to the combination mode. So we gotta bring the flaps back up from the sides. And we take the back end of the vehicle and turn them like this, where the wheels are facing back. Then we take the arms and rotate them to the sides like that, and turn the backpack around. So now this is where the torso comes into play. So first we come to the arms and raise up these window flaps, take the lower half of the arms, and there's a tab right here that will go into this. Sorry, you did not see that. There is a tab right there that will go into that slot. Then you take that window flap and the piece it's connected to and swing it down so it opens up the connector port. Do the same on the other side. Raise up the window flap, swing the lower arm around, tab it into place, and swing the window flap back. And swing the window flap downward. Next, raise up the arm sections so the forward wheel will be facing upward. Then bring down that section. And there are two tabs on both sides that will hold this section in place when they go into these two hole areas. Next, bring down this piece, and then on the inner sides of these wings, there's a tab there that will go into a hole right there. That is right in there. And that's a difference between Onslaught and Hotspot. That the arms section of Hotspot does not have anything to lock into place. So it's kind of difficult in combination mode with the Fensor and his arms that are any of the 4 Deluxes of the team of the Protectobots. Because when you move the arm that is connected, this section is not locked in place. so it'll rotate with the arm. But thanks to this chest piece of the torso of Bruticus, it has wing flaps that can lock these sections into place. Then we bring this whole section back, revealing the Bruticus head. But furthermore, rotate the piece all the way downward and rotating the cannons upward. That way, he looks even more so G1 accurate, with cannons behind his back. Or cannons on his backpack. So I think he's a really cool figure of a torso piece. And he looks really awesome. Now, I understand that this is just a torso. But there's still maneuverability. The head can rotate 360 degrees. And can tilt up a bit and down a bit. And he has really cool red eyes. And a really nice head sculpt. So that's pretty awesome. Now, I just went and got my Transformers Universe Ruination figure, combiner figure, and this is Mega Octane. His figure form is in no regard of a remold, just repainting and renaming. But like I said, no remolding at all, for he is straight off the G1 version of Onslaught. And so are the Combaticons, who are the same, just a renaming and recoloring, but in no regard a remold of the actual figures of the Combaticons from Generation 1, when the toys came out. So what's also really cool is that the head sculpt is the same shape, where it has that center crest of a horn, and it has two antennas on the sides, and a little tab coming off the mouth plate, and little side parts coming from underneath the antennas, coming to the front on the sides of the mouth plate. And then you can see the obvious form of how this is the style that Hasbro went with for Generation 1 Robots in Disguise from the year 2001, and then also Transformers Universe, and whatever other copies came out of Ruination or Bruticus. That it has the peg where it has this square peg style of combining figures and connecting them together. Versus the newer and more improved version for the Combiner Wars toy line, how they connect is a lot more simple. Because I've had this version of Rumination for quite a while, and I'm not so pleased with it anymore because, like, Armorhide, for instance, the tank who took over the form from Brawl, he may be a little hand-heavy because he's holding weapons, but over time, his connector peg, while going into the hole on the side here, I don't know if it's the peg or the entire figure, it just got a little floppy and now the figure goes inward. Like, I can literally show you. How ridiculous it is that it doesn't stay straight anymore. It goes in, and then the leg part of the figure goes outward. So it's like a broken bone, if you will. And then, yeah, obviously you just saw the chest plate come off. Because it was a bit of parts forming, how the chest plate and the shield and the back cannons, and even the headpiece and the hands and the feet were all separate pieces from the actual build, where the hands and the feet are still separate pieces, but the head and the chest plate are all connected with the figure, and the guns double as the single figure, the solo figures weapons, and then also on the other hand they double up as the combiner figures weapons. Excuse me. So that is another difference. Plus, Onslaught doesn't even get a shield, as Mega Octane does. So that's quite interesting of difference. Alright, so now we have Hotspot in his Defensor torso configuration. It's a pretty interesting setup. One thing I noticed is that Hotspot has these flaps blocking the connector port. That Onslaught does not have. But then, I was also wrong. There is something that tabs into the arm section to lock it in place, but it does not lock it in very well. Because I was right about the arm. When you have another figure connected here, it still moves this, and the chest piece completely untabs from the arm section, and it goes all over the place. Alright. Alright, so now I have Onslaught combined with the Protectobots, and you would recognize that the configuration is somewhat correct it's somewhat there, because that's taking place. Blades is taking place of Vortex. Rook is taking place of Swindle. Streetwise is taking place of Brawl, and First Aid is taking place of Blastoff. And I gotta say, Bruticus is gonna look pretty awesome once I have completed him. And looking at the stature of the figure from the side, that he doesn't slouch. He doesn't bend forward or backward to the unnecessary degree. He is straight. He has a straight back, and he is going straight up. So this is pretty awesome. And let's see how it works with Shockwave being held as a weapon. So he looks pretty darn awesome holding Shockwave. And I can't wait to complete Bruticus in the future. I think that Bruticus is pretty epic. Alright, so excuse me. I have Onslaught back in his robot form while holding Shockwave, who looks like a bit of a shield, if you ask me. And, yeah, it does look kind of awkward because Shockwave is at an off angle. And, looking at how Onslaught is holding him, due to the fact that the middle finger at the top, like directly right there at the knuckle, and unfortunately having that part of Shockwave, it's gonna remain to be a bit off. So alright, now I have Onslaught holding Shockwave at an awesome angle, like he's ready to fire at you. Anyways, I thank you all so much for watching. Have a great night. Have a great weekend, starting with tomorrow being Friday. And please stick around for more great LEGO and Transformer content coming to this channel in the future. And I will see you all next time. Good night.